So then a valiant win for the Pirates up there at Brandon against a B side which are clearly struggling. They've really suffered a reverse in fortunes, and it's certainly very different to the team that we saw vying for the Elite League title down here with the Pirates last year. Well, strangely enough, another team that have had also a reversal in fortunes is the BELLE VUE Aces. They're our visitors tonight, and I've got to say that their fortunes have changed remarkably in 2004. Well, I've been pleased to talk to Jason Crump on a number of occasions, and tonight I'm pleased to say, Jason, BELLE VUE really do seem to have turned the corner this year and fortunes are looking much better.
Yeah, so far it's been a better start for the season for us. We've probably surprised a few people, but you know, coming to Poole is always very tough, and it's a good test for any team, and without Joe Screen tonight it's going to be pretty hard for us.
I think that obviously yourself and Joe have been performing particularly well, but also some of the new names, they've really surprised us. And have they surprised you?
Not particularly. I mean, yeah, Jay he was here for the first year I rode at BELLE VUE, but he improved out of sight in Poland last year. I saw him a couple of times, and I'm not really surprised by him, you know, the form he's showing, especially at reserve. But unfortunately the Poole guys have got Antonio down there, so that kind of levels that one up. But it'll be a tight match, and you know, full of excitement. Tony's last show here for the foreseeable future, so it'll.
Of course, there's also a change in the management structure with Jim Lynch coming in, somebody that you worked with before, obviously from the Peterborough days. Is that changing things?
Jim's just really our away team manager because John Perrin's a Mancunian and he doesn't leave the north of England.
I had heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, John doesn't like to travel too far, so Jim stepped in as our away manager.
Well, Jim's already steered you to one victory away from home, and in fact I think 2 victories now under the belt away from home, which is something of a rarity from the BELLE VUE that we've seen over the last couple of years.
Could even be 3, Coventry, Swindon and Peterborough.
Oh, well, there you are. I'm out of date.
Yeah, no, it's been good. We probably have surprised a few people, but you know, a few away wins is nothing unless you get the home win to back them up. So early days yet, but we're certainly looking in better shape than we have for a while.
And I guess you'll be looking forward to actually getting out onto Kirkmanholm Lane, and I can never say that word because, of course, the weather's played its part again this year.
Yeah, we've lost a few to the weather, but you know, we had a meeting on Monday and we beat Swindon, so that was good. And hopefully tonight we can get it on. It seems to be raining in every part of the country apart from Poole, so hopefully we'll be lucky all night.
Okay, well, good luck to you. Let's have a good one tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Well, Jim Lynch, the manager of the BELLE VUE Aces, away from home at least, talking to Jason, and he tells us, of course, that you've already been successful in steering the side to 3 away victories.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm very pleased with the one we didn't, because that was away at Oxford on Friday night, and we only lost by 3. So when you think the purpose of the exercise is to set yourself up for the bonus point, I'm very pleased. The lads have travelled well, because we've got a bit of a difficulty tonight, because there's no Joe Screen and no Rory Schlein, both injured. And I think with a full team, we'd have come and certainly kept it down to single figures. Tonight, you just need a bit of luck.
Of course, the corresponding fixture up at BELLE VUE was postponed as well, so we've got no other form guide to go for. But certainly the Aces really are riding high this year, and it really has been a revival in fortunes and seeing more of the Aces that we've come to know and love over the years.
Yeah, I think it was just a case John was unlucky with the teams he put together, and as much as there was certainly the money was there and they always look good on paper, but maybe there wasn't enough attention to their personalities and really how well they did around BELLE VUE. And this year we sat down and we said we want 6-7 riders that like BELLE VUE. We'll worry about the away from home later. And that's what we've got. And the away from home is just a bonus. I mean, I think we've broken all the BELLE VUE records for the last 10 years and we're only into the 4th match. But, you know, that's great. Good for John, and it's his team. I just manage it away from home, but we're all enjoying ourselves anyway.
Well, I'm sure the supporters up there are pleased to see the resurgence in form, and hopefully they'll come out and support in their numbers.
Well, it is interesting. He's had 2 very good, last 2 home gates have been very good, but what is interesting is that they're getting almost an extra 50 people every time they ride away now, because of course they think, hang on a second, we're going to come and actually do something. So you noticeable at last week that there was probably about 60 or 70 at Swindon and maybe 100 at Oxford. So that's good for us all if that happens, you know. So yeah, good.
Well, it's sorry to see that you're a little bit under strength tonight, but I'm sure the boys are going to be determined to put up a good fight against the Pirates.
4 or 5 that we got are very good, and they'll give it a chance. And I mean, we're just pleased really to be part of what is obviously a tremendous occasion tonight with Tony going. So But we'll play our part. There'll be no favours given or asked, I'm sure.
We'd expect no different. Good luck tonight. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.
Well, as we talked about earlier, Tony Rickardsson will take his final bow for the Pirates right here at Wimborne Road this evening. And it's going to be a wrench for not just Tony, not just for the fans, but also perhaps for his housemate over the last 3.5 years, the man that's been putting him up and looking after him while in the UK, Neil Middleditch.
Yeah, that's right. So Tony's become part of the family. You know, he comes home from his trips to Sweden, and the dog's all pleased to see him, and that's everybody is. And you know, he's a great character as well as being a fantastic rider. And you know, there'll be a bit of a void left in the house, but you know, we've had fun, and you know, wish him the best.
Well, the void won't be just in the house, of course, because in the pits, everybody really does get inspired by Tony. They look up to him very much.
Yeah, that's right. I think, you know, the riders, you know, I was talking with the riders, and you sort of, you know, they look across the pits and they see Tony Rickardsson, you know, his preparation, and, you know, he just has this aura about him, which I think is reserved for very few riders in the Speedway world, you know, throughout all the years I've been going to Speedway. And Tony does command that respect from riders, and, as I say, has an aura about him, which steps, you know, puts him above many other riders.
Matt's also referred to the legacy of the Swedish riders that Tony's introduced into the club, such as Antonio and Daniel.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, Tony, you know, Matt's very, you know, forward-thinking in getting new riders, and always does put the feelers out and speaks to Tony and says, you know, if you see anybody who thinks, you know, maybe worth a go in the future, you know, contact us, and that's what's happened with Antonio and Daniel. So, you know, we've got to find somebody else to do it for us now, unfortunately. But you know, Tony, I think, will still be in contact with the club. I mean, you know, he's got no other ties, you know, with obviously Ipswich asset. But I mean, I think his heart's in Poole Speedway, and I think that if somebody are be in contact with us, I'm sure Matt will. And if there is anybody who particularly catches, you know, our eye, and we could just ask Tony to just, you know, get his opinion on it, I'm sure he'll be only too happy to help.
Tonight we've got to put our thoughts behind us now, and we've got to get on with the fixture in hand. Belle Vue, they've certainly been turning a few heads this year, and their fortunes have really reversed in a good way.
That's right, yeah. I mean, Belle Vue have always sort of started the season, it's a great team on paper, but just haven't done it on the track, whereas this year they've really sort of put in some great performances, and they've got a great reserve. JEDRZEJAK, who's been absolutely phenomenal point scoring machine. So, you know, Daniel and Antonio this evening are going to have their work cut out. I mean, I think if we can keep him fairly quiet, obviously they're without Joe Screen this evening, but that leaves them open to, you know, they can actually use Jason in a rider replacement ride. So, it's you know, it might even make them stronger.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but thanks for talking to us. It's a big night tonight. I think everybody will, I don't know whether there's going to be any celebrations or whatever, partying into the night perhaps.
I don't know about partying. I think you know, I think Tony's, you know, obviously he's got the Grand Prix to think of this weekend. He's off to Sweden tomorrow, so I think he'll probably have a couple and maybe have a meal, and then he'll get back home and just get ready for the weekend. So I don't think celebration's the right word. I think just sort of a goodbye drink, if you like.
Absolutely. Well, our best wishes from everyone at Pirate Videos go with Tony.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, in many ways, none of tonight's fans are going to want to see this match over and done with, as it is going to be their last chance to see the big man in action here at Wimborne Road. Well, they are turning out in their hundreds and hopefully thousands to bid him farewell. And I have to say that as we join Graham now for the action, is that we have to prepare ourselves for life without TR.
Heat 1 it is, with Jason Lyons and Bjarne PEDERSEN for the Pirates. Rider replacement in the shape of Jason Crump, nonetheless, in the green helmet for the Aces, and Tobias JOHANSSON in yellow completes the lineup for this very important Elite League fixture. And it's Bjarne PEDERSEN and Jason Lyons who roar from the starting gate. Jason Crump splits the Pirates on the first bend there by coming between them, but Jason Lyons is out in front. Jason Crump storming around the outside. Is he going to make his challenge this time on? Jason Lyons, his fellow Aussie, two Aussies out in front, and at the moment the Pirates holding a 4-2 with Bjarne PEDERSEN challenging up the inside line strongly. Jason Crump looking vulnerable to an inside challenge, but I wonder whether he'll switch it away from the outside. He has done. He's given up any idea of going around Jason Lyons at this stage, although he's into turn 3 on the outside. What a superb ride by Jason Crump, but with a lap to go. Is this Jason Lyons hitting top form just at the right time? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. He just pulls a bit of a locker on the pit span there on the final lap. That was all that Jason Crump wanted. He turned on the throttle and he rounded his Aussie rival. The battle of the Jasons goes to Jason Crump, but a superb opening race there in this Elite League fixture. It's a drawn race, 3 to each side, but great to see the two Aussies out in front. Jason Crump, who starts as the Grand Prix favourite for the Swedish Grand Prix this coming weekend. He's the bookies' favourite, but he had to work for his money in that particular race. So, On to race number 2, and eyes this time will be on the rider in yellow, Tomasz JEDRZEJAK, who has been in absolutely sensational form for the Aces in recent matches. He's scored double-figure tallies in each of his last 3 matches, and he's lining up here against the Pirates pairing of Antonio Lindback and Daniel Davidsson. Antonio Lindback getting out of the gate there, JEDRZEJAK in second place, and in third, guest reserve for the Aces tonight, Brent WERNER in the green, with Daniel Davidsson at the back. So Antonio Lindback, not particularly impressed by JEDRZEJAK's recent form, and he's scorching out in front, although he did get into a little bit of trouble on lap 2 there, turn 1, and had to think very carefully about how he's going to get out of it without closely inspecting the air fence. Taking a little tighter line on the pitch turn that time, and JEDRZEJAK and WERNER seem to content to sit for minor places and a share of the spoils, although JEDRZEJAK now getting tangled up with the safety fence, and after the hype of those 3 double-figure scores, he lets Daniel Davidsson through for third place, and it looks as if the young Pole, who's made a sensational start to the season, is not going to do it in this particular race because the Pirates take a 4-2. Antonio Lindback, their own star reserve rider, I don't know for how much longer, but still number 6 on his back makes him probably the hottest reserve property in the Elite League. He takes a heat win, and a 4-2 to the Pirates makes the scoreline after 2 races, 7 to Poole and 5 to Belle Vue.
Rias Pirates, your players please, Antonio Lindback.
So we move on now to race 3. Pirates holding that slender 2-point advantage. Let's see what the skipper Magnus ZETTERSTROM can do with his partner Davey WATT. They've had a bit of a lean time in Pirates' most recent matches, this pairing, with Davey WATT having that rather nasty knock on the head a few weeks back. Magnus having clutch problems. Let's hope that they can sort themselves out this time and play a key part in what we hope will be a Pirates victory here this evening. Antonin SVAB, the rider in green for Belle Vue, and his partner, close season signing, much to the consternation of Peterborough Panthers, is Kenneth BJERRE. He's the rider in yellow. He goes from gate 4, and up go the tapes, and away they go. And this time we see in the lead Antonin SVAB, with pretty poor start by the 2 Pirates there, because joining SVAB in second place is Kenneth BJERRE, and Magnus ZETTERSTROM trailing in third place. Davey WATT looking a little bit out of sorts back in fourth. So just what the Pirates didn't want, the middle order pairing to be scoring well, and that's what the Belle Vue Ace pairing are doing at the moment, with Antonin SVAB in the lead, Kenneth BJERRE second, Magnus ZETTERSTROM looking to be well down on power, and the same certainly seems to apply to Davey WATT. So the Pirates trailing in this 5-1 here with a lap to go, trailing rather badly, it has to be said, and Neil Middleditch obviously going to have to see what he can do about this Pirates 3 and 4 pairing, because they're not cutting the mustard in this particular race. They concede a 5-1 to the Belle Vue Aces, who now take over the lead in this match by 2 points. The scoreline: Poole Pirates 8 points, Belle Vue 10. And Tony Rickardsson prepares for his final race meeting in the UK in the Elite League for the 2004 season. And what more auspicious opponent could he have than Jason Crump, the first of what should be 3 mouth-watering races between these 2 Grand Prix stars. And Jason Crump it is in the green helmet on the outside grid 4. Tony in the red helmet lines up right alongside him. Be intriguing to see how these 2 clash tonight, with the Grand Prix just days away, the opening race meeting of the 2004 Grand Prix season. Tony, 5 times champion. Jason Crump, if he doesn't win a title this year, may start to be regarded as underachieving it by his own very high standards. The other 2 riders in this race, and in the yellow helmet, Tomasz JEDRZEJAK, and for Belle Vue, and for Poole, it's Daniel Davidsson. And away go the Aces, and this time Jason Crump straight out in front with Tony Rickardsson hot on his heels. Tony Rickardsson splits the two aces, and he looks to get on terms with Jason Crump. Jason Crump taking a very wide line, but Belle VUE, more importantly, at the moment holding a 4-2 heat advantage. And of course, with half the race gone, this would mean that they would go into a 4-point lead. Their form recently has been very good indeed. And if the Pirates are not firing on all cylinders tonight, and there's already early signs that they may not be, that they could be staring at home defeat here. So Tony Rickardsson, he's looking through and seeing the back wheel of Jason Crump in front of him. Jason Crump, of course, a former rider here at Poole himself many seasons ago, and he takes the checkered flag ahead of his great Grand Prix rival, and they acknowledge each other's efforts there, with third place going to the young Pole JEDRZEJAK and fourth to Daniel Davidsson. 10 points then to Poole, 14 to Belle VUE. Work to do. Well, let's see what the Pirates can do in this one with that suspect pairing, certainly by Heat 3 standards, of Magnus ZETTERSTROM and Davey WATT. This time they face the Aces #2 rider, New Scandinavian Tobias JOHANSSON in the yellow helmet. And the rider replacement for Joe Screen, the injured Joe Screen, is the #3 rider, and riding here in the green helmet, a winner first time out, Antonin SVAB. So Magnus and Davey WATT looking here maybe to make amends for that earlier 5-1 reversal, and see whether their recent scoring can be improved this time, but it doesn't look like it, because out in front immediately goes Tobias JOHANSSON. Magnus ZETTERSTROM in second place on the inside. Davey WATT looking a little bit more comfortable this time. He's out there in second place on the outside. Antonin SVAB now tucked in at the back, but who would have thought that Antonin SVAB, who's never had a decent look at this track, in fact, he does make a mistake. He was out in front there looking comfortable for a couple of laps, but he got all out of shape on the first turn, and all of a sudden it allows the two Pirates to come through. Not, I would say, as swashbuckling, convincing as they were earlier in the season, but nevertheless they were there in the right place at the right time to take advantage of that mistake from JOHANSSON. But with a lap to go now, Davey WATT this time also almost looks as if he hit that rather tricky patch there on turn 2, but he manages to pull it out of the fire, and Magnus ZETTERSTROM just slows enough to let his partner by him on the checkered flag there, and the Pirates take a much needed 5-1, and perhaps Zorro and Davey WATT will take great heart from that win. They certainly squared up the scoreline at 15 points apiece, and maybe that's the start of something better to come from the skipper and his partner.
Pan to the front, shall we say, and making sure the 5-1 was still intact. So come on, ladies and gentlemen, the home say, Magnus ZETTERSTROM and Davey WATT. And have you got the 5-1 bonus from last week? Yes, with it too, yeah, well done. Balls up top.
On to race 6 then, scores level. It's Jason Lyons and Bjarne PEDERSEN, and almost a repeat of race number 1, because they're out against Jason Crump, who's in the green helmet, and this time his partner in yellow helmet will be the replacement for Rory Schlein, the injured reserve rider in the Belle VUE Aces lineup, and in tonight comes Brent WERNER. So, what will Jason Crump do this time? He had to work for his points last time, out against Bjarne PEDERSEN and Jason Crump. Bjarne PEDERSEN, the new Danish champion, is on grid 1. What can you do against Crump? Crump seemed to be rolling at the start there, and he certainly capitalises by oh dearie me, and Bjarne PEDERSEN seemed to get a fade on his motor going into the back straight there, and that allowed Belle VUE to move into a 5-1 situation with Jason Crump out in front, with Brent WERNER looking very good tonight in second place. Jason Lyons back in third there, not seeming to be making much impact on WERNER. I wouldn't necessarily expect Jason Crump to be headed, but certainly Jason Crump now slowing to team ride with Werner, taking a little look over his shoulder there, and that's always a trait of Jason Crump, to do a bit of team riding. Takes another look over his shoulder down the back straight, giving his team partner, the American Brent WERNER, every encouragement, slowing down there to block any potential challenge by Jason Lyons. And somewhat unexpectedly, I think the Aces take a 5-1 heat win there. We might have expected Jason Lyons and Bjarne PEDERSEN to at least split the BELLE VUE pairing, but the BELLE VUE team moved back into a 4-point lead with that 5-1. Scoreline 16 to Poole, 20 to BELLE VUE. So, Heat 7, and what can Poole do about this 4-point arrears? Can they bounce back once again with a 5-1? This time they've got Tony Rickardsson in the red helmet and Antonio Lindback in the blue. For the Aces, it's the pairing of Antonin SVAB and Kenneth BJERRE. It's 16 against 20, the scoreline, and they're lining up now with Tony Rickardsson in the red helmet. Can he shepherd his young Swedish compatriot to a 5-1 here in his last race meeting of the season for the Pirates? Oh, we're going to have to get used at Wimborne Road to life after Tony, but we're hoping that it won't be life after the Elite League trophy, because the Pirates are right there, up there at the top, just alongside Wolverhampton, a point behind, setting the early pace, and they cannot afford a slip up here this evening. They will be desperate to get these Elite League points to go back to the top of the table, which indeed they would if they win tonight. But at the moment they're making heavy weather of it. Let's see if things can improve here in Heat 7. And a little bit of untidiness at the tapes there. The referee showing the red light. And looks like there's going to be a restart, probably with all 4 riders. Nope, the rider in blue has been excluded, Antonio Lindback. So the problems are stacking up for Poole. So the referee's verdict that time was Antonio Lindback, the guilty party, and the blue light came on indicating that Antonio was excluded for touching the tapes. In his place this time, Daniel Davidsson. So it's Tony Rickardsson and Daniel Davidsson, and they're out in front certainly on the first bend, and Tony takes a quick look over his shoulder. Daniel Davidsson out in front. This is as much as the Pirates could possibly have hoped for this time. Young Daniel on the outside line, Tony covering on the inside line. In third place in the yellow helmet is Kenneth BJERRE, and in the green helmet, Antonin SVAB at the back. So the 2 Swedes, Tony taking a look over his shoulder to see where the challenge is coming from. Kenneth BJERRE in third place, but he takes another look over his shoulder. He's closely monitoring the BELLE VUE riders behind him, but Daniel Davidsson out in front. Tony Rickardsson, in his final race meeting for the Poole Pirates in season 2004, is doing the business team riding style with a lap to go. This would be just the tonic for the Pirates to square up the scoreline on what has so far been a difficult evening for them. Last bend, Daniel Davidsson, Tony Rickardsson, listen to the grandstand, up go the 5-1 plaques. Sky Sports not here tonight, but nevertheless, it's a celebration time as the Pirates square up the scoreline, 21 points apiece, with that wonderful piece of team riding there from the master himself, Tony Rickardsson. So can the Pirates maintain the initiative in Heat 8? They've drawn the scores back to level twice after being in arrears, and now we've got Bjarne PEDERSEN and Daniel Davidsson. Daniel out for his second consecutive race after that glorious 5-1 in Heat 7. And they come out against a changed lineup for the Aces in Heat 8. In comes Brent WERNER to take the place of Tobias JOHANSSON. Bit of astute team management there, and Brent's partner in the yellow helmet is Tomasz JEDRZEJAK. And this is a race really that could go either way. Bjarne disappointing last time out with that engine failure. We've discovered that it was the ignition box which was faulty, so he's coming out on his number 2 machine. We'll hope that is functioning perfectly, because he's a potential race winner here if he can get that bike out of the gate, and of course young Daniel there, he's a very exciting prospect and proving with every race meeting here at Wimborne Road this season. What can the pairing do this time in race number 8? Up go the tapes, away they go, and in fact Daniel Davidsson gets a superb gate from grid 2, and Bjarne PEDERSEN a little bit out of shape on the pitch turn there, but he manages to keep it going and shut off the potential pathway through for Brent WERNER on the inside. Daniel Davidsson, as we saw in the previous race, does obviously prefer an outside line, and he really is looking like a revelation here this evening, because he's out in front the second consecutive time, and he really is going probably as well as he's gone in any home match here at Wimborne Road for the Pirates this season. So, the Pirates holding a 5-1, have the luxury of a 4-point lead after this race if they can only hold on to this advantage. The Aces seem to be trailing somewhat badly, with Brent WERNER having had 2 very good rides indeed, looking a distant third, and right back there in yellow, Tomasz JEDRZEJAK, whose double-figure tally in the last 3 matches of the Aces look as if they're disappearing down the plug hole, because he finished last. The Pirates finished with a 5-1, and they're now 26 points to 22 in the lead after 8 races. So on to race number 9, and the Pirates are going to have to work hard to avoid their 4-point, hard-earned 4-point advantage being wiped out immediately this time, because last time that Jason Crump and Brent WERNER were out in Heat 6, they got a good 5-1 against Jason Lyons and Bjarne PEDERSEN. We probably wouldn't have predicted that, and therefore this time it means that Magnus ZETTERSTROM and Davey WATT are going to have their work cut out against the 2 Aces. Jason Crumpet is on the inside on gate 1. I don't know which Davey WATT we're going to have this time, the one who trailed in rather poorly in Heat 3 in last place, or the rider who won Heat 5. He could do with one of his jet-propelled starts from grid 2 this time, but we haven't got it, because although he has held off Brent WERNER, and so the 2 Pirates look as if they're trying to hold on to the 3-3, with the minor placings. Jason Crump out in front, Magnus ZETTERSTROM in second place, Davey WATT tucked in third, but Brent WERNER right on his tail, and it could be that we're in for a battle for minor positions here, but if the Pirates can just hold on to this 3-3, that's all they would really have expected to get from this race, with Jason Crump already having taken the scalp of Tony Rickardsson, Jason Lyons and Bjarne PEDERSEN, the top 3 Pirates on current form. He's certainly having no problems here with a comfortable win in race number 9. Takes the yellow flag. We do look forward to those clashes in E13 between Jason and Tony Rickardsson, and maybe Tony Rickardsson will not be anxious to leave Poole on other than a winning note, but as the riders cross the line in Heat 9, the win goes to Jason Crump. Pirates pack in the minor places from Magnus and Davey WATT, and in 4th place Brent WERNER makes the scoreline 29 to the Pirates and 25 to the Aces. Heat 10 lining up with the Pirates pairing of Jason Lyons and Bjarne PEDERSEN. Mixed fortunes for them this evening, and they're out against Antonin SVAB and Kenneth BJERRE, who started with a flourish and a 5-1 in Heat 3, but perhaps trailed off a little bit. SVAB's taken 2 last places, and Kenneth BJERRE was on the wrong end of a 5-1 in Heat 7. So, pretty unpredictable race here, although the Pirates looking to gain their momentum. Of course, a 5-1 here would immediately open the door for a tactical ride in Heat 11, when the Aces are due to have a rider replacement. So all sorts of possibilities with Jim Lynch masterminding the tactical side of the Aces. And away they go for Heat 10, and a superb gate by Bjarne PEDERSEN. And he gets a great gate and out into the lead, but unfortunately Jason Lyons is tucked behind the 2 Aces at this stage, and Bjarne PEDERSEN certainly coming under strong challenge from Antonin SVAB, having to pull out all the stops here to hold the 2 Aces at bay. But Jason Lyons looking a little bit out of sorts at the back, and a drawn race 3 to each side would at least mean that the Aces of any sort of tactical ride will not present themselves, because with just a little over a lap to go, the spoils are shared. Jason Lyons looking distinctly out of sorts at the back there, not mounting a serious challenge on either of the places. whereas Kenneth BJERRE is hot on the wheels of Bjarne PEDERSEN. In fact, he's making a very strong challenge and only just fails to get alongside the new Danish champion. So I don't know whether Kenneth BJERRE was a little bit hurt to find himself shut out by his Danish rival there, the new Danish champion, Bjarne PEDERSEN. But nevertheless, as the two aces go back to the pits, Bjarne, it is who comes round to take the claim of the grandstand for that fine win, and it means that with a drawn race, the Pirates move on to 32 and the Aces to 28. So still 4 points between the teams. It's not at all a comfortable situation, and with the spectre of tactical rides if ever the Pirates were to extend that advantage. So going into Heat 11, we've got Tony Rickardsson and Antonio Lindback for the Pirates in the red and blue helmets respectively, and for the Aces in yellow, taking what I assume will be his final ride because it's his third ride of the evening, Tobias JOHANSSON. And the rider replacement for Joe Screen will be performed by Kenneth BJERRE.
And finally in gate 4 in green.
So if the Pirates do manage to secure a 5-1 this time, they would be 8 points ahead, and of course that would leave the prospect of maybe a tactical ride from maybe Jason Crump in Heat 13 against Tony Rickardsson. What a prospect that would be, with Rickardsson having to go all out to prevent his great Grand Prix rival from scorching to 6 points for the Aces. But that's pure speculation. What we have got is Heat 11, Tony Rickardsson on grid 1, Tony Lindback on grid 3. Away they go, Tony Rickardsson out of the gate, and Lindback has not made it. Tony Rickardsson moves out to take Kenneth BJERRE well wide, creating a perfect space for Antonio, and leaving the Pirates with indeed the 5-1 that we had speculated about. Good news, of course, with the 8-point lead, maybe not quite so good in terms of the potential for any tactical ride, but it's better to have the points in the bag, and in the halfway stage, if the Pirates can hold on to this advantage, then surely they're going to be 8 ahead going into the interval, which will be a relief for Middleditch. And after the early stage of this match where it looked as if the Aces were on top, but this is the way that Pirates fans would like to remember Tony Rickardsson, leading his team out in front to a 5-1 and an 8-point lead in the Elite League here at Wimborne Road. The checkered flag is out. Yet another win for Tony Rickardsson. We've only got 2 more races in which we're going to see him here this evening, and indeed this season, but there we saw him where we know he can always be, and that's out in front.
Shaking hands with the young reserve. So as the boys go back into Vic's preparation for the next outing, I can bring you the full and official sort of...
Tony SVAB for Belle Vue in green is nominated by Jim Lynch as a tactical rider for race number 12. So double points in prospect, and once again the Pirates face the spectre of the tactical ride rule. No team has had the rule used against it more often than Poole Pirates so far in the Elite League this season. It's a very controversial rule. Some say that it presents an unfair advantage to the teams who use it. And of course anyone who saw the Pirates match up at Wolverhampton will know how much it can be subject to manipulation. Won't go as far as using the word cheating, but certainly a stupid of manipulation. But here we've got Magnus ZETTERSTROM and Daniel Davidsson getting off to Heat 12, but with Brent WERNER out in front and Antonin SVAB in second place. This is not really what we wanted here, and Daniel Davidsson is right at the back. We had hoped that he would be able to perform a little bit more sharply this time and repeat some of his earlier successes, but not to be so far, although he's having a good old challenge up the inside. In the yellow helmet then, out in front, Brent WERNER. And if this race stays like this, the Aces will secure 5 points to the Pirates 2, and the margin between the two teams will drop back to 5 points. It's Daniel Davidsson trailing rather badly at the back, but it's very tight out in front with Brent WERNER from Magnus ZETTERSTROM and Antonin SVAB there in third place. He's only going to get 2 points for his tactical ride, rather than the 6 that Jim Lynch had hoped for, but nevertheless it's a 5-2 heat win to the Aces. Scoreline as we come up to the interval, 39 to Poole, 34 to the Aces. 3 action-packed heats left of this Elite League Speedway match between Poole Pirates and Surprise Packets of Belle Vue Aces. The Aces challenge tonight being spearheaded by the so far unbeaten Jason Crump. He comes out again in race number 13 against his great rival Tony Rickardsson. This is likely to be the penultimate race in which we see Tony riding in the colours of Poole Pirates this season, so the fans hoping to make the most of it, and in order to do that they would dearly love to see him head home Jason Crump. But Jason has the advantage of the inside. He already has one race advantage over Tony. Let's see what happens in Heat 13. We've got Jason Lyons and Brent WERNER for good measure. So Pirates obviously want the league points. They're 5 up. And what can they do about this one? And away they go with Tony Rickardsson. Does make the jump on Jason Crump. A superb first bend from the master, and he's tucked in the blue helmet, and Jason. So it's Jason Crump out in front with Jason Lyons and Tony Rickardsson. Possibly Neil Middleditch will not be unhappy about this situation if they can keep the margin to 5 points. Jason Crump from Jason Lyons and Tony Rickardsson. And fast and furious first bend sorted itself out, and it looks as if Tony Rickardsson is going to be remembered for his team performance here tonight rather than his solo efforts, because once again he's notching up another bonus point. He's tucked in third place there behind Jason Lyons and the 2 Pirates, sharing the spoils. And with 2 heats remaining, as Jason Crump takes the checkered flag, it's 42 to the Pirates and 37 to the Aces. So no doubt that Tony and Jason will renew their battle, but Jason Crump has already won the spoils this evening with 2 wins at the expense of Tony Rickardsson. And it's just a nominated heat between those 2 riders that we can still anticipate, and whether anyone can stop Jason Crump from getting 18 maximum, we'll have to wait and see. A crucial heat 14 then, with the Pirates 5 ahead. What can Davey WATT and Antonio Lindback do? They will need a share of the spoils this time to make sure that the Aces don't get back into the thing with Kenneth BJERRE and Tomasz JEDRZEJAK. And that's a very, very good start by Tony Lindback out in front, and Davey WATT in second place. And a miserable evening for Tomasz JEDRZEJAK, and he tails off. His run of double-figure scores is not going to be repeated, and the Pirates currently on a 4-2, which would ensure that they won this Elite League fixture, although Kenneth BJERRE is having a jolly good try at Antonio Lindback. But Antonio Lindback out in front in the blue helmet. His evening was punctuated by that unfortunate touching of the tapes, but that's 3 unbeaten rides out of 4, so it'll keep his average well up, and when the averages are reformed after 12 races, it'll be interesting to see exactly how high. He certainly won't be a reserve for the Pirates, but it'll be interesting to see how high up in the rankings that he'll be. And as he takes the checkered flag, Antonio Lindback ensures the Elite League points for Poole with a win in race 14. Davey WATT in third place, 46 points now to the Pirates and 39 to the Aces. So the league points are in no doubt, and of course we are always mindful of the bonus point situation, and there'll be no Tony Rickardsson when we return to Belle Vue in a few weeks' time for the return match. So just 1 race remaining then, Pirates 7 to the good.
So the official result then, 13 was a winning blow for Antonin Lindback. And for the Belle Vue Aces, in green, Jason Crump. And in yellow-black, Kenneth BJERRE.
So the announcement that Poole Speedway supporters did not want to hear, the final race for Tony Rickardsson in Pirates colours in 2004. He's in the red helmet this time, and his arch rival in the Grand Prix, Jason Crump, is coming out to see if he can inflict his third win of the evening at the expense of Tony. The Pirates primarily will be concerned with the league points, which they've already secured. After all, this is first and foremost a team sport, and Tony has shown himself to be the consummate team professional here this evening in a couple of his earlier rides. So it's Bjarne PEDERSEN in the blue helmet, Tony Rickardsson in the red helmet. We've got Jason Crump in green and Kenneth BJERRE in the yellow helmet. Pirates have won the toss. They take grids 1 and 3. And there you can see Tony Rickardsson on grid 1 and Jason Crump on grid 2. I wonder whether those are similar positions to the ones they will occupy in the A final of the Swedish Grand Prix this coming weekend. It'll be intriguing to see how that one pans out. But here, the most significant part of this race is that Poole Speedway is about to say farewell, certainly for 2004, to their great hero, Tony Rickardsson. So the crowd waiting expectantly. Tony Rickardsson lining up on grid 1. Jason Crump with 5 races, 5 wins to his credit, 2 of them at the expense of Tony. And only Tony, I think, and Bjarne stand between Jason and an 18-point maximum. We very rarely see visiting riders scorching to that sort of total around here at Wimborne Road, but if anyone's going to do it, Jason Crump is the rider to do that. So great expectation here, and Belle Vue, they can't win the league points, but they can see their superhero Jason Crump make it a clean sweep of 3 wins at the expense of Tony Rickardsson. Tony Rickardsson would not want that. Green light's on. Up go the tapes and away they go, and Jason Crump has once again scorched out to the front with Tony Rickardsson and Bjarne PEDERSEN challenging. Tony Rickardsson gets the inside, but Jason Crump has got the outside advantage there, and Tony Rickardsson lifting as he gets the drive. He's selecting a tighter line. Jason Crump is out in the dirt, and that's a very brave ride from Jason Crump. It looked on the pit's turn on the first corner as if he'd overcooked it and got out of shape, but Tony Rickardsson had Bjarne PEDERSEN alongside him, and he wasn't able to fully capitalise and shut the door on his great Grand Prix rival. So it looks like Tony Rickardsson is going to have to settle for second best in this one, but Poole fans know that Tony Rickardsson has never been second best here at Poole at Wimborne Road Stadium. He's always been none other than their top star in the 3.5 seasons he's been here, and as the checker flag goes out, it's a share of the spoils, 3-3. Jason Crump the winner, Tony Rickardsson second, Bjarne PEDERSEN third, Kenneth BJERRE fourth, 3 to each side. Final score in this intriguing and, shall we say, elite league fixture tinged with a certain amount of sadness is a win to the Pirates, 49 points to 42, and Poole are about to say their farewells to their great hero, Tony Rickardsson, as he comes round to take the acclaim of the grandstand here at Wimborne Road. And with that, it's down to the centre green to get those final words from Tony before he flies off into the sunset.
I think that basically says it all, doesn't it? What a marvellous reception, eh?
Yeah, I can't believe it. I just would like to thank everybody and all that made me so very, very welcome here for 3.5 fantastic speedway seasons. I would have to say you're always going to be, I hope I'm going to be back. I just see this is time out, but this place has a very big spot in my heart, and the way you've been treating me, just not here on the racetrack, people I meet on the town, sponsors have been helping me out, everybody, promotion, the whole thing. It made me really feel at home here, and like I said to my close friends, you know, I wish I 10 years younger, you know, I would love to come and live here, you know, but it's a different story now, but I'm so grateful for everything you've done and the way you've been supporting me. Thank you very much.
which is your fondest memory of those 2.5 years?
Well, I think, you know, we had all 3 years we had, you know, really great memories. But obviously, you know, last year having such a fantastic season with the whole team and winning the treble, you know, it was all very, very emotional, and that really made my season great.
It's what it's all about. And those fans out there, Tony, they've been behind the team. We're now top of the league again. You're going to be watching our results?
Absolutely. You know, I left off here, and I expect nothing less if I come back here this season than we still are at the top.
Tony, I've worked with you since 1989. It's that moment, but good luck with the future, and we'd love to see you back whenever you want to Wimborne Road.
Thank you very much. I'd love to see you all again. Thank you.
Well, it's an emotional scene here then as Tony Rickardsson takes his final bow in front of the Pirates fans. And indeed, the Pirates put in an excellent night's work with a 49-42 victory here against the BELLE VUE Aces. But certainly all the accolades go to that man, Tony Rickardsson, and the fans staying to make sure that they pay their tribute. They're on their feet for the great man who has been the icon here at Poole Speedway for 3.5 years, and they're certainly generous with their applause and their appreciation for him as he takes his final lap of the track around here at Wimborne Road. Well, I think tonight really does mark the end of an era and possibly the opening of another era as Tony's replacement comes into play next week in the form of Ryan Sullivan, of course. Well, I do believe I may have detected just a slight mist in the eyes of the great one there as he took his final bow in front of his faithful fans. Well, before this evening, we were able to catch up with Tony and catch up on some of his thoughts about the previous 3.5 years since he'd been here with the Pirates. Well, that just about wraps it up for our second edition here on Pirate Videos. Got to say, Graham, it really does feel a bit like an end of an era here this evening.
Yes, I mean, here we are only just sort of a couple of months into the season, and yet it does feel as if it is the end of an era. We've had 3.5 great seasons of Tony riding for the Pirates here, and we've enjoyed every match that he's raced in. We've always had the very best. But we now must look forward to the rest of the season, getting the Elite League silverware back on the sideboard if we possibly can, and welcoming the new rider Ryan Sullivan as he makes his debut for the Pirates next week.
Well, absolutely, and I can't wait to see that happen, really. It's, you know, we have got to sort of get past this little bit of a dip, and hopefully it's not going to affect the Pirates, the rest of the Pirates, in too bad a way upstairs in the head, as it were.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, let's face it, there are some good things that have been happening. The two reserves, Daniel Davidsson and Antonio Lindback in particular, have performed very, very well this season, and it'd be no surprise to see them working their way up the Pirates' ratings from 6 and 7 up into the main stream part of the team. And of course that will only be good, because if perhaps one of the other riders is struggling a little bit like Davey Watt has been, he'll get the opportunity to boost his confidence, and he'll bounce back from maybe the reserve position. So plenty of good things to look forward to as we try and maintain the top of the table slot.
Well, as always, indeed, there is plenty to look forward to on Pirate Videos. And when we come back, of course, we will have news on that new signing, Ryan Sullivan, who'll be slotting into the side in our next fixture here from Wimborne Road. Well, do come back and see us again. Until then, thanks for watching this particular edition. Thanks from Rob behind the camera, from Graham here, from myself, Nigel Leahy. Wish you all a good day, a good evening, and we'll see you soon.